New polling indicates that the vast majority of Americans do not believe that Biden should continue running in the presidential race. Now, this is a CBS News YouGov poll published on Sunday, and it showed that 72% of registered voters do not believe Biden has the mental and cognitive health to serve as president, and that's up from 65% earlier this month. I think that comparison is important because this isn't new. Voters have been saying in poll after poll for many months that Biden and his mental decline makes him unfit to serve. He shouldn't run for re-election. But the Democratic Party decided to ignore that, and the numbers have of course gotten much worse following his terrible debate performance. I should note that 46% of registered Democratic voters say that he should not run, compared to 54% who say that he should. So only 54% of Democrats believe, okay, he should stay in the race. Now, the election isn't ultimately decided by the partisans. It's ultimately decided by independents, and I find it hard to believe that independent voters watched that debate on Thursday night and thought to themselves, no, Biden should totally remain in the race and he should serve another 4 years as president. Nancy Pelosi, by the way, was asked about the damning polling over the weekend, and here's what she had to say.
A new CBS YouGov poll out this morning that was taken after the debate finds that 72% of voters now say they do not think President Biden has the mental or cognitive health to serve as president.
Well, what do they think about the other guy? Do they think that he has the integrity to be president after that performance? Let us not make a judgment about a presidency on one debate. Let's talk about what it means to people in their lives. And that's why you're not seeing much change in the polls on this. The difference between Joe Biden and the former president is so clear. If you are a woman and you care about your reproductive freedom and your health, and women do, you see a complete difference between enforce a woman's right to choose on the part of Joe Biden and a ban on abortion with the other guy. It's not about performance in terms of a debate. It's about performance in a presidency. And I want you to know that the fact is that the reaction to the lies of Donald Trump is something that maybe TV isn't focusing on, but people are.
So as you probably saw on the screen, the same poll asked the same question about Donald Trump, and the numbers were much lower in regard to the percentage of Americans who think that he should avoid running for re-election. And so, look, Cenk, do you think she makes a decent case there? Because she, starts listing all of the different policy differences between Biden and Trump, which, okay, fair enough, but we're not having a discussion about policy differences. We're having a discussion about the mental decline of the current president of the United States who insists on running for re-election, even though clearly he shouldn't be because of that mental decline. And by the way, you wanna talk about integrity? They're gaslighting us in real time, and they wanna talk about the integrity of the Democratic Party.
Yeah, they no, mask off. Democratic leadership is decrepit. They're all liars, and they're lying to you when you know they're lying to you. And so I think it's a turning point. I mean, the whole thing is a mirage. It's all theater. Now, look, guys, look at the idiocy of this strategy. The last two Democrats we showed you defending Biden on the show today were James Clyburn and Nancy Pelosi. You want to know how old they are? 84. They're both 84. So they sent out 84-year-olds to defend an 81-year-old. And did you hear Nancy Pelosi right there? She's like, the other guy, she's not much better, right? So why? Because all of these people have proven themselves to corporate donors as a great return on investment. They will always deliver for corporate donors. That's why this party is so old. Next thing you know, they're gonna bring out Dianne Feinstein to tell you that Joe Biden's fine.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team. Well, in fact, Jeffrey Katzenberg is hitting up all the Democratic donors to Biden and urging them to relax, chill out, everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, that's absurd. That's a lunatic thing to do. I'm sorry, but that's just, I mean, you have to be crazy. I'm gonna explain in a second why Joe Biden has a 0% chance of winning. If you're for Biden staying in the race, you're definitively for Trump winning. No ands, ifs, or buts. I'm gonna get to that in 1 second. But to answer your question, Anna, about the substance of what Pelosi was saying, she's like, oh yeah, how about Trump? But guys, Trump is a constant. Whether Gretchen Whitmer's our candidate or Joe Biden's our candidate, Trump is always the same. But we're not going to be, the American people are not going to be voting based on Trump if Biden stays in the race. They're going to be voting against the guy whose brain doesn't work anymore. If Biden's out of the race, then they get to vote against Trump. And that's what the Democrats' whole strategy is. Now, but they can't execute even their own weak strategy with Biden in the race.
Right.
So now, it's what the stat that Anna read you, 72% of Americans think that he is not mentally healthy enough to be president. Just let that sink in. That means 7 out of 10 Americans think that his brain has basically stopped working. Not completely, but enough that he is not mentally healthy and cannot function. Let me ask you this, even if you're diehard blue MAGA, would you let Joe Biden drive your car? Would you let Joe Biden drive your car with your kids inside of it? How about if there was no seatbelts for anyone? You know you wouldn't. You know you wouldn't take that risk for 1 mile, okay? But you want him to be the president of the United States for Gretchen Whitmer, Josh Shapiro, today Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky. It won twice in Kentucky. These guys would all be up 10 points. Why do you want to lose? And the reason is because blue MAGA will believe anything. I mean, that 54% that say he still should stay in the race.
Crazy, yeah.
They truly believe what Pelosi, Clyburn, and these liars are telling them, that Biden is our best candidate.
Well, look,
if he's our best candidate, the party is in shambles.
I don't think that Biden is the best candidate. However, I can understand if a portion of those Democratic respondents actually do think that, or actually think that it's more of a risk to replace Biden with someone else.
Total propaganda.
I mean, look, if Biden continues running, he's gonna lose. That's a guarantee at this point, right? To me, that is a guarantee. So why not take the risk? It's not really a risk of running someone that has a better chance of beating Trump. It's sure. I mean, one of the arguments is, oh, well, these governors that might take Biden's place don't have the name recognition, and the polling currently indicates that they wouldn't do so well. Well, yeah, the current polling has to do with candidates who don't have any national name recognition because they're not currently running. They would have the opportunity to campaign and go out there and make a robust argument for themselves. But the DNC and the Democratic establishment is not allowing that to happen in order to protect Biden's precious ego and alleged legacy of a 2-term president, which, by the way, as things are going right now, he's not gonna get. He's not gonna be a 2-term president.
So guys, let me break that down super quick for you. So number one, if Biden steps down, you have a very normal convention where you have the delegates pick one of the nominees. They fight it out like they would normally in a convention, and guess what? The strongest one will win. And then you'll have someone who's already battle tested. And on top of that, you'll get hundreds of millions of dollars in free media. Well, how about Biden's money? No problem. He can give it to a super PAC, and that super PAC can give it to any candidate.
Exactly.
So all of this talk of like, it'll be a mess if Biden is not the candidate. Mess how? In terms of drawing more attention to the Democratic Party and its politicians and its policies? That's a giant upside, that's not a downside. Oh, well, it'll seem chaotic. So what? Is politics supposed to be beautiful and pretty? I mean, if they go to a convention and they're making the case for, hey, my Democratic policies are better than your Democratic policies, we win because all they're hearing is 2 good Democratic policies, if you believe in the Democratic Party. If you say our policies suck, I don't want anybody to find them, okay, you're gonna lose anyway, right? So here's what people need to understand. A lot of blue MAGA thinks, I love Joe Biden, so I'm sure he's going to win. I think Joe Biden is a sweet man, so I think he's going to win. I like his infrastructure bill, that's why I think he's going to. You don't understand. What you think is totally irrelevant. What I think is totally irrelevant. What matters is what are the voters going to think? And they have a different perspective than you. They have a different perspective than me. They have their own perspective, and they just told you what it was. 7 out of 10 of them think his brain has fallen out. They're not going to vote for a guy who they think his brain is not functioning. That's obvious. If you can't see that, you're in a cult.
Well, the Democrats are also planning to formally nominate Joe Biden well before and way before the Democratic National Convention takes place in order to lock in Biden as the nominee and prevent the case of a contested convention. Now, a lot of people are arguing, no, they were planning on doing this anyway in order to ensure that Biden would be on the Ohio ballot. No, this is different. This is reported by Bloomberg News. And essentially what they're planning on doing is formally nominating Biden as soon as July 21st. Now, the initial deadline for the Ohio ballot was all the way in August 7th, and they actually pushed that deadline back even further. The Democratic National Convention doesn't take place until late August, okay? Yeah. So they're doing this in order to lock Biden in as the party's nominee and avoid any attempts of swapping him out.
Yeah, so guys, we talked about this Ohio issue on Friday's show. David Schuster brought it up. Watch Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern every day here, because we're covering all the issues that you need to know. And in that case, I said, hey, I'm gonna go research that more, and I did over the weekend. So it turns out that was a real significant issue and why they needed to do the virtual roll call before the convention, because otherwise Biden or whoever the candidate is gonna be would not be on the Ohio ballot. We're gonna lose Ohio anyway, so it doesn't matter too much, but it would have been very bad, like it looks bad, right? But no, as Anna pointed out, I confirmed it, there's no question. Ohio, thank God, delayed that. So they don't need to do the virtual roll call at all. At this point, the only reason to do the virtual roll call is to steal the convention in favor of Biden before the convention even happens.
Yep.
Because the delegates could do a rebellion. I mean, imagine if Biden's brain falls out again and again and again. Every time he goes on TV, he's like, I defeated Medicare, now I'm going to defeat Social Security. You're like, no. And so at the convention, the delegates can rebel and go, I know we're supposed to, but we're not actually bound to, so we're going to pick another person, not Biden. Well, they can't do that if they steal it in the middle of the night with a virtual event that's just in 3 weeks.
Well, thankfully, the party that is protecting democracy would be the party doing this, right?
I mean, they say it with a straight face. And now today there was an article about, hey, did you guys know that Florida didn't even have a Democratic primary? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I knew that. Right?
It's amazing. It is. Look, I think that there are Democratic voters across the country who are waking up to the farce of the Democratic Party and the allegations that they're the real protectors of our democratic process. Look, we've had issues with the Democratic establishment essentially squashing any real challenge to the status quo, and that became abundantly clear in the primaries in 2016. But now more and more people are waking up to the reality of what's going on, and some are shocked, some are angry, others are falling in line because they're afraid of what the alternative is. But honestly, at this point, the alternative, okay, you might assume it's really, really bad. But what's worse, a vegetable running the country? And I think a lot of Americans who typically would vote for the Democratic candidate are asking themselves that question right now. And it is precisely the Democratic establishment who refuses to do the right thing here and demands that we all fall in line and support Biden, even though we all saw what we saw on that debate stage last Thursday.
All right, last couple of things here. Number one, if you told me right now a random Democratic mayor or Joe Biden, I would definitely go with the random Democratic mayor sight unseen. Why? Because 7 out of 10 Americans think that his brain works. In fact, 10 out of 10 Americans think that any new candidate's brain would work. And if you think I'm being too harsh in my language, guys, they said mentally and cognitively not healthy enough to be president. That just means we don't think his brain works well enough. Period. That's literally what it means, even though it's super uncomfortable to say. You have to be honest with yourself. So now, thank you to Jamie Raskin, who said, come on guys, of course we're talking about it behind the scenes, about what we can do. He's the only Democrat that's acknowledged that. And people are like, oh, you shouldn't even acknowledge that. You should lie to the Americans and tell them that you're not even considering it because you're a moron. Okay, no, and he broke the ice on that. Andy Beshear, governor of Kentucky, today broke the ice on, well, here is my excellent record from Kentucky. And that's a big deal because now they're dipping their toe in, hey, am I gonna get my head chopped off if I dare to dissent from the Mad King? And at this point, he definitely is the Mad King. And now, look, we did this petition and we're still doing it. And guys, if we get this to a monster number, that's another way that you could help. It's not a poll, because now poll people say, oh, I don't believe in any polls, right? So tyt.com/campaign/dropout. We'll have the link in the description box. Let's get that up to a monster number. And so that number's already way higher than it used to be. We'll get a new graphic for you guys. But maybe that'll help push them in the right direction. But mainly what I wanna say about that petition is, number one, to our core fans that stayed with us throughout and that pushed us to do petitions like that pushed me to go into the race against Biden because they knew that Biden was gonna lose. Thank you. Thank you for being right all along, and thank you for having the courage of your convictions. Now, if you wanna know, we've been through a lot of different fights in TYT history, right? You've seen people attack us, you've seen all the drama, blah, blah, blah. And they always say, like 1 minute into it, oh yeah, Young Turks audience is leaving. Never true, never, ever, ever true, okay? But when you criticize a Democratic president, yes, you lose a portion of your audience. It happened under Obama, and now it's happened under Biden. That actually did affect us. To all the people who left thinking that we were against the Democratic Party and we were gonna help Trump win, do you see now that we were trying to warn you? We were right all along. The people actually gonna cause the defeat to Donald Trump is Joe Biden and his team.
Yeah, the power hungry, egomaniacs who will want power at any and all costs, even if it means sacrificing the country.
So what Democratic leadership is trying to get you to believe is the exact opposite of the Democratic idea, the idea for the party, which is don't believe your lying eyes and ears. Only listen to leadership. And if anybody criticizes leadership or authority, they're a heretic, and you should say they're trying to help the other side. No, the Democratic ideal is, of course we don't defer to authority. We don't obey for the sake of obeying. We need to make rational decisions so we could win and save democracy. We all gotta get on the same team right now. Joe Biden has a 0% chance of winning. We must get another Democratic candidate to oppose Trump. Otherwise, we're just literally handing him the election.
Thanks for watching the Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.